Okay, I'm back. You don't see any sevens here, but we left off with completing the numbers. So now we're going to pick up kind of where we left off. I'll go ahead and put in a number. Not forget you're using the regular type tool. Making sure that you have your layers palette open. And I'll be working on the numbers layer. I'm just going to work over here in this second artboard. You, of course, are working on the first artboard. So I'm going to go back to my 7, making sure I see my bounding box. Hold down my shift key. Oh, I didn't type a 7. Type in my 7. Resizing, constraining proportions at the same time. Choosing a color. Pressing OK. And now at this time I'll go ahead and tell you how to save the colors so you can kind of work with the same colors without having to go back and try to find them. If you go to Windows and you go to Swatches, you have your Swatches palette here. You also see your color here. You can open up your windows, your color palette as well. If you notice, my windows are opening and closing, so you can just detach them to keep them open. And I'll go back with the swatches and detach to make floating panels. Undocked or detached panels become floating panels. Okay, I can simply click and drag the color from here if I want. And if you notice, it gave me the swatch here. You can also drag from here. You get the same thing. Deleting the color, you can just press on it and press yes to delete. Now I'm going to clone the number. Holding down my Option key, click, hold, drag. Option key, click, hold, and drag. Now at this particular time, I'm not really concerned about composition. I want to make sure I take you guys through the steps of how to create the image. So I'll keep this particular 7 at this color range, and I'll click on this 7, and I can simply come in here and use the sliders to change the color. I'm just changing it to a different value of that particular color. Get a little more, add a little more purple. Okay. Alright, so we have our 3 7s. If you notice right now, the fill is active. Any box that's on the top is active. You have your fill, you have your stroke. Right now there's no stroke, but we want a stroke, so we'll click on stroke so it becomes active. We can also go up here to change the color of our stroke. Right now I'll just do the blue. You can barely see the blue around the 7, so I'll change the stroke size. The stroke size is usually measured in points unless we change it. So I'll take it to about 4 points. Now I can see my stroke. And I can apply a stroke to each of my letters. You can use the most recent fill color and changing the stroke and changing the stroke. That's how you change your strokes. Now I wanted to get into how to bring in your image from Google or from your USB drive. On this particular instance, we'll bring it from Google. So I'm in Safari, I'm in Google. I'll type in apple blossom because that's the flower for my state. You want to go to images, and you'll see various images of flowers when you guys go in to choose which one you're going to do. So what you want to do is try to find the one that looks the most interesting and it's kind of singled out. I kind of like this one. So I'll click on it. Once you click on it, you'll see the image here. But you want to make sure you click on full size image. It gives you the web page for that particular image. So I right click the image or control click the image, go to copy. I can minimize Safari. Here are my layers, bring my layers. I'll go ahead and make the layers a floating dock as well and put my artboards away. Okay. So now on the original image layer, making sure that the visibility is on and it's not locked, I can go to edit and and paste. And there's my image. Now, for the sake of not getting confused and being able to work with my flower, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my numbers layer. To see more detail, you want to make sure that you zoom into the image. You can use the zoom tool to marquee the actual object. It just gets it a little more precise. You want to make sure you lock the layer. And so now you begin to trace on your line art layer. And since I have other things on these particular layers, I'll make a new layer and I'll just move it up here with the rest of the line art. Double click, apple blossom. Okay. All right. So now we're going to use the pen tool. But before we actually use the pen tool, we want to make sure we have a no fill and a stroke. Right now, if I begin to use my pen tool to do any drawing, by the time I get to where my line work, I'll notice that it's closing off areas. And of course, you don't want that because then you can't see the rest of the lines. So I'll press delete, get rid of that. So you want to always make sure you have a stroke and no fill. And the color of the stroke is up to you. You can always go back and change it. Make sure you're on the right layer and make sure the original image is locked so that you don't move it when you're trying to draw. Okay, with the pen tool, you simply click, you hold, you drag. I'm clicking, I'm holding, and I'm dragging. When I click, hold, and drag, I am actually creating a line, a curved line. When you just click and move, you have more of straight and angled lines. And since we're working with nature and there are no true angles in nature, you have to look really close. And if you look really close, most of the time, those angles will be very, very tight curves. And I'll just go ahead and go around here in this area. Notice how fast I'm moving. As you begin to get used to the tool, you can easily move fast. Right now, I just completed one petal. So right now, I'll deselect the tool because I don't want to take a chance of connecting this line with the other line. So I'll hold down my Shift, my Command, and my A key on the keyboard. So now if you notice, it's deselected. So now I can go in with the other petal. Once again, I'm clicking, I'm holding, and I'm dragging. Now let's just say I stop for some reason, don't know why, and my object is no longer selected. I'll zoom in. Now Illustrator has icons that tells you what's really going on. So right now, if I was getting ready to start a new line segment, notice that it's not connected to the other line segment. You want a continuous line segment just to eliminate confusion. All right, if I drag my cursor over our anchor point that already exists, you will see the little dash. You will see the little dash mark. Let me zoom back in, sorry. Zoom all the way back in. Let's see if I can get it without. Go ahead and select my line so I can see my point. There we go. All right. You'll see the little dash. That little dash tells you that you're getting ready to continue where you left off. So you're on the same line segment. So I'm just going to back out and get started again. So I click, I hold, and I drag. And if you notice, it's still highlighted with the rest of the line. Now let's just say I mess up. I go out here and my line segment is all off. In order for you to edit or manipulate specific anchor points, you want to use the direct selection tool. That's the tool that has the white arrow tip. The selection tool has the black arrow tip. The selection tool moves whole objects, so you moves the whole thing around. The direct selection tool, you can click on a specific anchor point. So I click on the point. If you notice, it's highlighted. All the other ones are not. Come in and I move. Notice when you have a curve, each curve has two handles. So now I can manipulate that curve. You can move curves around. And sometimes you may have more anchor points than you need. In that case, you will use the delete anchor tool, which is here. So if I didn't really need this particular anchor point, I click on it, it deletes it. And I still have enough lines here to continue this line. So you don't want to get in the habit of cheating yourself, because then I have some people who would do this because they really don't understand how to use the pen tool. And when you get really, really close to that particular line, notice there's angles everywhere. We don't want to do that. It's a waste of time because I'm going to make you redo it. So we want to eliminate getting all of those angles. Okay, so let's get back in here. So at some point, when you finish your line work, and every line looks exactly the same, you're gonna come back in, line selected. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what's going to take place. You're going to use the width tool. The width tool allows you to vary your line stroke or the width of your line. So if you drag your cursor across, you notice that it kind of lights up. I'll get a little closer so you can see. You'll notice your line kind of lights up and you have this little circle point that follows. You want to click, hold, and simply drag out, and you'll notice that the line becomes thicker. Now, of course, you don't want the line to be the same thickness all the way around. That's the purpose of using the tool. So if you notice, you have a thick line here that flows into a thin line. You can even get some of these areas even tighter. You click on the line and you drag in. And you don't want to drag too far in because then you'll begin to lose that particular stroke. And it kind of almost disappears. You don't want that. I can come in here and make this area a little thicker. In the fold, I can come in and make it a little tighter. And so now you have a line that's going in and out of the thickness. So it kind of gives it that calligraphic feel, more of a flow to it, and a variety of widths on one line segment. Now, by the time you finish with your drawing should look something like a coloring book. I should be able to get rid of the actual image, and your line work can exist by itself. So you want to turn the visibility on and off as you draw, so that you can see if your line work is conveying the actual image. Okay, I'm going to stop here. So now you have bringing in the image from Google, bringing in, you can also bring in your image from your USB drive. Let me go over that quickly before I review. You simply go to File, and you go to Place. Now before you go to Place, you want to make sure you are on the original image layer. Make sure it's not locked. Make sure the visibility is on. You go to File, you go to Place, and then you will see your USB drive over in this area. You would choose your USB drive. It will give you the list of everything that's on the USB drive. Like for instance, if I needed this particular clip art, then I want to make sure that nothing down here is selected. If link is ever selected and you save the artwork, when you put your artwork in my Dropbox and I'm looking for your original image, I won't have it because it'll be linked to your USB. So then you just simply press place, and then there's the artwork. All right, back to the review. So far you've gone on how to use the how to bring in your image from Google, how to place the image from the USB drive, how to use the pen tool to draw, to add anchors, to delete anchors. I didn't go over the add anchor. Let me go back over that. In case you need to add an anchor for any reason, of course, what it does is it actually gives you an anchor point that you can use. You have to make sure that you're on the line segment or you'll get this particular message. So if you notice, it gave me a new anchor point that I can move just like any other anchor point, even though it was added. So that was adding. If I don't need it, I'm deleting the point and I can continue with that. All right, I hope this clarifies some things for you again. Make sure you rewind the video, look at it again, listen attentively, take some notes because this is knowledge that you guys will need to continue with the rest of the year. It's not just for this project. So once again, as your teacher, I hope I have clarified some things for you and you can move forward. So this is the second video. There's at least 2, maybe 3 more videos to get you through the project. Good luck.